Welcome to episode 10 of Who on Earth. Now, we're in double figures already. How quick's that gone? And this one, I can't wait to share it with you because it's with one of my boys, one of the people I love most, Mr. Will Barton, WillPower to most people. You may have already heard him if you've watched some of the previous episodes. He's a popular guy, and this one is probably the most intense and just unashamedly authentic. And it's all because he understands, because he's already been through mental breakdowns, he's already been through self-harm, he's had a lot of pain in his life, losing his hair to alopecia. God, I mean, the way he just wants to share because he cares so much about people who are going through the same stuff, or something similar. We've all got our own unique way that it happens to us. But it's one I can't wait to share, because to have somebody who is that willing to be that vulnerable, everything, heart on his sleeve, just so you guys can understand that you're not alone in all this. More importantly, that there is a way out. It's called building willpower, because that's it. That's what he's done. He's used his willpower to get him out of these situations and share it with you. Now, guys, I'm not going to tell you all the details. I'm going to let him do that. But I'm going to give you a few words about transmute. Before I do, though, do you like me little mug I got for Christmas? How about it? Coming to all good stores near you. Right, anyway. I'll stop being weird. It's hard. Let's have a word about transmute.
Come here a moment. Do you want to expand your awareness? Tap into your creativity? Well then, you need look no further than Transmute Studios. I want you to picture this. You're there learning traditional African drumming with the mesmerising Mustafa. Or maybe you've gone down to extreme hip hop, where Amy Azari actually makes fitness fun. And for those men out there that really want to see what they're made of, we've got Caveman, high intensity interval training, where Transmute have created a real brotherhood. And it doesn't end there. We've even got transmorphic breathwork by the founder of Transmute himself, Mr. Joshua Obazuki. And let's not forget about the spectacular events that they've got on. We're talking things like Arignani, ceremonial ecstatic dance by the very talented DJ Wizardry. Or maybe you want to indulge yourself. Come to one of the sound baths where you're suspended in hammocks. And speaking of hammocks, meditation with Michael himself also does floating meditation journeys. That's where we're using storytelling, meditation and music to take you on an epic adventure of the imagination there, so you can heal, a bit of self-discovery. And they've even got workshops, classes, things like Art of the Cosmos, naturopathic nutrition, tantric exploration, and so much more. So those horizons are waiting to be crossed. Come and dive into the limitless possibilities. Go down to transmutestudio.co.uk. Find out where awareness meets creativity. Transmute Studio. Come down and play.
Okay, so welcome to Who on Earth. We've actually been speaking about you a lot already. We've had Ben SOS has mentioned you. We've had Craig Seaton's mentioned you. Josh from Transmute. So finally, guys, I've brought you the man, the myth, the legend, WillPower.
It's good to be on here. I'm glad that people have been shouting my name out. Maybe I need to shout all them out today as well then.
It's a little bit like, who is this WillPower?
Who's the mystery? That's a bit like Earth Wizard though. Earth Wizard's the mystery, isn't he?
We've mentioned him a few times as well, a bit of wizardry.
Yeah.
He's actually the reason why we even managed to get the first episode with Echo.
Perfect.
I'm not a tech guy like you've just been seeing. So this has been my way of just getting as many people to help me and then going, right, I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, less about me, more about you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Pleasure, mate.
Find out who on earth WillPower is. It's not WillPower, is it?
It's not WillPower, actually, no. Even though people have said to me, is your surname Power? And I'm like, I wish it was. I said I could change by default, but my family might not be happy. But no, it's Will Barton. WillPower is the name, which I'll get into about where it came about as we unearth me.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll give you that $5 later. So with this one then, I always start with Who on Earth, with finding out who you are, where you've come from, so we can just get a bit of an idea of where
this person in front of us was and why they are that person they are now. So give us a bit of an idea. What was it like where have you come from? What was it like as a youngling?
So going back to when I was younger, literally, I just had lots of energy. Like my mum and dad, I'm sure they said they wanted 2 or 3 kids, and then very, very early on they were like, I think one's enough. Yeah, so apparently I had the energy of like 2-3 people. So I was a lot to handle when I was younger. Don't think I had ADHD, but I might have not been far off. So when I was younger, very kind of like, if you look at primary school, very sporty, captain of football teams, very athletic. Like that was my focus and my direction and what I loved doing. Always very sociable. And then kind of heading off into like more like high school and stuff. I was still very active within, training and getting out there, enjoyed school and stuff. And then I kind of started to discover going out, around like literally quite early on, like, I don't know, 14, 15. It was all about parties. And I discovered like cannabis and I was like, whoa, what's this world?
So let's rewind a little bit then. So as a young lad, we're very energetic.
Yeah.
Mum and dad are finding that a little bit.
Bit
much. I can relate. My mum and dad went one's enough as well. Then you've been a captain of the football team. We've been were you always into sports from a young age then?
Yeah, always in sport.
What was it about it? Is it a way of channeling that high energy maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always loved being in teams. Like that's always been a big thing that I loved about sport and being with others and doing that together. But there was just a love for exercise and movement and just challenging myself, competition, especially at a young age anyway. So yeah, it's just almost felt like it was in me. I think I was directed towards football, love football, directed towards running, good at running, and then just went from there.
So at some point then, you said that things like weed, other things start slipping in.
Yeah.
What age is that we're looking at?
We're looking at year 9 in school when, girls start coming into the picture a little bit more. People start throwing parties. Mum and dads are out. Start going to, or people have parties at their house, and then it's like, whoa, what's this? And then a bit of weed gets hustled about, and yeah, that world just opened up. So I still played football, still played at a good level throughout the rest of school. But then I discovered, like we're saying, like weed and girls, and just like having fun away from that. And it was always a battle then between them two throughout my teens. Do I go partying? Do I pursue because literally I probably could have become a semi-professional footballer.
Were you that good then? Yeah.
Yeah, like I started to enter into Trafford, was going towards academies, but then I started to choose the partying and girls kind of side of things, and just the love of being out with my mates and stuff. So it kind of took me on that kind of path.
So there mustn't have been, like, I mean, I'm passionate about Manchester United, say, for example, whereas for yourself, was it a bit more like, I like it, but...
What, as in, like, football, as in, like, loving football, watching it, or do you mean playing it?
There must be a reason why some people go, I'm going to sacrifice the girls, the parties, the weed, and someone like yourself went, actually, that's me.
Yeah, no, it was... They felt like they were both me, partying and football, and I couldn't feel like I could choose. I mean, this is me now looking back at it.
Yeah,
I mean, then I was just playing out, but it always felt like a battle between the two. Fun, or like almost like discipline. I always found like sport and the level that I was doing it had an element of discipline, and as I was kind of getting to that rebellish kind of age of like 15, 16, I was like, oh, sod this. I mean, I couldn't even be asked to listen to the manager on the football field. I was like, oh, fuck off, I'm just going to go and party and stay up all night. I'll come and play on Sunday. And then that started to bring its own issues, and then the manager wasn't putting me on, and then I just said, fuck you, basically.
Okay.
So that's how it started, then heading from football into partying.
So let's go into that then. How was that for you?
What, that transition?
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy, really, because I I think it was hard for like my mum and dad and stuff because they knew how good I was at sport and football and where I maybe possibly could have gone. And also, do you know, when you're at that age where you kind of want you let your kid kind of find out their own way, but then you still don't stand for what they're about. But I don't think they knew the extent of what path I was going down, because then I was getting into pills quite quick, going to clubs like at 16, and then it just quickly went from the whole side of like sport and enjoying myself, going out with friends, the whole side of football and sport and all that kind of stuff, and then straight into, from 16, 17 college days, straight into partying. Now, the only thing that I substituted with the fitness was I started going gym.
Okay.
So I started smashing the gym, 16, 17, got in really good shape. So I had that in there as my discipline. But then that just sat there, and I didn't really have to be accountable to anybody or a football team, or have to be up early on Sunday.
There's no responsibility there with it.
Yeah, I just went and did it and then got in good shape. I thought, well, this helps everything else. So, sweet. So it was a transition that didn't seem that hard for me to make at the time, really. I didn't really find it a battle. I just thought, no, this is where I want to go.
This is what I want.
Yeah, this is what I want. And then it was the party scene then. From 16 to 21 was just out every weekend. Tearing up ampersands was a big club in town. Then it was like North, and these were all like house nights, a lot of ecstasy, MDMA, cocaine, weed in the week. It was just wild. It was just
weed
a wild
in the week,
period.
party drugs at the weekend.
Yeah, it was just and gym. I mean, I started to get into like work and kind of working in gyms, but I still didn't know what direction to take. I was just like kind of dossing about, like working on reception or in sales.
Okay. So you weren't PTing at this point?
I wasn't PTing. I was thinking about it. But then again, I was just like, I don't know if I can commit to like becoming a fitness instructor or a PT at this point, because I just don't want to be responsible right now. So that was then my life. I'd say I had a really good time. It was quite damaging to my mental health, as I'll mention in a sec, but I just lived that life of living fast and enjoying myself. And had some really great times, got a lot of memories, but came at a cost, came at a price.
When did the price start being a bit more evident then?
Pretty early on as well, which was mad. It was around, I remember it was around my 21st birthday, and I was starting to think around 21, I need to start getting some direction in my life. I was like kind of working on reception at Total Fitness, kind of thinking about what to do. Do I want to become a PT? Can I be a PT? Actually, maybe let's just do a trade. Do you know, I was just battling. So I think that started the whole conscious kind of battle with myself. Okay, what are you doing with your life? You're going to just carry on like this because this will be you into your, like, your 30s, or you're actually going to sort your life out. So I think that was hard, but that made me then use more drugs to not actually deal with it. Didn't get present to how I felt, was just in this battle.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who can relate to that. I know I can. It's like all this pressure, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Escapism. And when you've got a load of people, I imagine maybe the friend group that we're in as well, similar
totally.
vibe.
Yeah, and similar vibe. And it was just like, it felt like, at the time, it just felt like I didn't realise, but I was putting a lot of pressure on myself with like getting my act together, sorting my life out, thinking, is this actually good for me going out every weekend? But nobody else was thinking like that around me. Everybody else was just living for the moment. But I was very early on, I would say, in that kind of path, questioning a lot of things.
Where do you think that comes from then? Why are you different to your friends at this point?
I don't know. I mean, I can tell now that why that happened because of the work that I do now and who I've become. So I can see that, oh yeah, of course that was going to happen for you then, because it was really difficult to start having issues with my anxiety, which kind of came on off the back of my 21st birthday.
Okay, so it was anxiety that started showing.
Yeah,
up.
it was just like, I didn't know I was experiencing anxiety, but I was experiencing like anxiety. I can't fully remember how I was experiencing it now fully, I was just feeling like I couldn't think straight, and there was just fear there, but I wouldn't say I was having panic attacks or anything. And I was starting to, off the back of like having a night of getting on it, I was starting to feeling really low the next day, and then my mates were like, "Right, let's go on again." And I was doing it, but I was feeling really like odd, like anxious about doing it.
Okay.
But I didn't want to share it with anyone, not even my partner at the time. So that's how it was, kind of this inner conflict and battle that was playing out, that was causing me anxiety. And that started to go on for a while.
Must have been a lonely place as well. If everyone else sounds like they're just having a laugh, but you're there with this constant fear, this constant anxiety that you're not sharing with anybody.
Yeah. It was heavy, and I started to have. I just started to feel like I just don't want to be here. Do you know? And that's scary. I don't think I can tell anybody. I think I'm going mad, and it almost felt like it came in out of nowhere. But when I looked, it'd been building for about a year, like it always is. But it was lack of awareness that had me then in a position where I remember going to my friends, getting on it all weekend in Liverpool, that is, coming back and feeling like I want out. I want to fucking do myself.
Okay.
But it was becoming louder, the voice. It had kind of been subtly there. And I was like, shit. And I just felt very kind of trapped and lonely in that place, like what you were saying. And I thought, if I don't say anything now, I could do something really bad. And I'm actually starting to get scared that I'm thinking that I don't want to be here when I've been quite happy most of my life. This is completely new. I would actually say I've been on the positive side of the spectrum for a long time. So
probably even worse for you then, isn't it?
It was like completely. Do you know, like people like make moving waves of like feeling low, and I was always happy. So it was horrible to be in that place, and I just remember breaking down, and then on a Sunday morning or whatever, and just telling mum and dad what I've been thinking, how I've been feeling, how I've been wanting to I think I actually started self-harming myself with a razor a bit as well. So I was going to a dark place. I was like witnessing myself doing stuff, but not being able, like, in this battle between, like, I feel like I've not even really talked about much about the self-harm thing, but it was almost like I just needed to get the pain out.
Okay.
And I think the self-harming was a way of me at the time just getting some of that anger and frustration out, because I didn't feel safe to communicate. I didn't feel safe to let it out towards anyone. I didn't want to do that. I didn't feel safe going and shouting in a field. Nothing was safe. So I just thought, if I just hurt myself, then that will relieve it. And I guess in some mad kind of way, that's what it was doing. But I was then in this battle, like, this can't carry on like this. Like, I'm gonna have to speak this out, or what's next?
How did it feel then when you were letting your mum and dad know?
That was probably one of the scariest things I'd ever done up to that point, because I remember thinking, shit, I'm going to have to tell them, like, how I'm feeling. I'm a partner. Is my partner going to leave me? We've only been together like a year or two. Now I'm having literally what I think is a mental breakdown. What my mum and dad going to think? Like, what? It was just all fear. And then actually, when I spoke it out, fuck me, did I not feel a lot better. I was still miles from getting better.
But it was a first step. It was
a first step, and I just remember everyone being really supportive, and it was like a weight off my shoulder.
I can almost feel that whilst you're reliving it.
Yeah. I'm kind of gone back into it. I've not spoke about this first kind of breakdown, if you like, for a long time. I've always gone back to the latest one, which was like when I was 30. But yeah, I just remember everyone being really supportive, and then that was the start of me moving in a new direction.
So what's the new direction that we're going in?
So the new direction was, it all happened really quick, which kind of didn't work in my favour as well again, but I was in a dark place, didn't want to be here. I actually took a step back from work at the time. And my mum and dad were like, look, do you want to go to the doctors and that? And I was like, well, I'm not going on any medication or anything, not a chance. Like, I'm not one of them guys. And they were like, okay, it's up to you, but you know, we just want to make sure you're okay. And they're like, if you're not starting to feel better, then we're probably going to need to speak to the doctor, and we'll have to step in and take you. So I was like, all right, cool. So my partner at the time, her mum went to a Reiki master. So she was like, look, I know you don't want to go to the doctors, that's fine. How about you just go for a session of Reiki?
Did you know what Reiki was then?
I had no idea what Reiki was. I was like 21, just like, I'm open to anything. I'm in a dark place.
Yeah.
Just whatever. I was like, is it a massage? Because I thought, I don't know if it would feel like a massage. She's like, no, it's this like, she said, I can't really explain it. It's just this energy healing and you'll feel better. It's really helped me. And
Because it's even in the NHS now, isn't it?
yeah, apparently so. I mean, the powers of, you know, Reiki are massive, as I found out back then. But yeah, I went to basically see this guy, just offloaded to him straight away because I'd already realised that shit, you just got to offload. So I was like, nah, anyone I trusted then. I was like, that's going to make me feel better. So I gave him my life and he was really supportive. And I had my first Reiki session and wow, it was like the lights came on. I remember, I can't actually fully remember the session apart from feeling absolutely incredible when it was happening. Because remember, I'd gone from feeling very dense, very heavy, to then just almost feeling light. It's like it went the complete opposite. Yeah, and when I came out of the room, he had a nice field in front of his house. Like, I just remember all the colours being brighter, just some moments of stillness that I'd never experienced in my life. So I would say I was having a moment with God, if you like, with the universe. And I was like, wow, what? I was almost speechless. And I remember going back to my partner's house and her mum's house, and I was like, wow, this, that, and the other. You've got to do it. Honestly, it's amazing. And then that started my spiritual journey.
Okay.
Early though, I was like,
that's,
wow.
That's pretty early, that as well, yeah. Usually it takes until like the 30s. There's a few more traumas thrown in there, but you've just gone, right, Reiki, what else is there?
Yeah, and from there, what happened was I basically went for regular Reiki sessions and I started to feel positive about life. So I started to like feel like I wanted to be here, started to get my energy back, started to think about being a fitness instructor. So all these things were just switching on. So I wasn't feeling depressed anymore. I just got on with it. But then what ended up happening was I went full throttle into that. So I started studying Buddhism, started doing loads of different types of meditation, and I really wasn't grounded. So I had a year of doing that. Yes, I felt better. Yes, I kind of got myself at that place. But then what ended up happening was a year or two later, I ended up just feeling very ungrounded. I couldn't think straight. I was starting to suffer from something called dysmorphobia that I didn't realise, which was like, I was feeling that physically I had things up with me. So I was like noticing like really weird stuff like the hairs on my ears, and I was like, oh, they're not nice. But then I was like obsessing about like different parts of my body, how it didn't look right, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? So I went into a whole new realm of anxiety.
Yeah, that's just gone the other way, hasn't it?
It was like the anxiety experience when I was 21. I was probably about 22, 23 now. It wasn't that long after, about a year and a half or so. It came full force. Then it was panic attacks. And then I was like, what was going on? And I remember realising, wow, I've got serious anxiety by the sounds of it. Went as an outpatient to the Priory pretty fast. And basically from there they said, he was the one who said, you've got dysmorphobia, which is a very acute sign of anxiety. You're probably going to need some medication for the extremity of the anxiety. And you're going to need some regular therapy. And I was like, I'll have the therapy, I'm not having any medication.
What was it about the medication?
What, for me? I just felt like, I think it was all, especially because I'd come off the spiritual thing and I'd realised that, you can heal anything through like natural medicines and, like meditation, Reiki, all this stuff. So I was like, I don't need that kind of stuff. I wasn't kind of down that farmer route thing that, but I was just like, no, I don't want it. I don't want something that's not natural to my body.
I mean, I can understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had anxiety pills and they made it worse for me.
Yeah.
So I can understand why that's not something you just want to be jumping at. Especially sort of like, I feel like you're owning it a bit more when you don't just outsource it. So you've asked for the therapy.
Well, what happened was he said, go and have a think about it. He said, you're not even in the right headspace for therapy. I actually stopped the Reiki for a bit. I kind of slowed it down anyway. But he said, you're not in the right position. He said, you have to come back if you don't want to do medication. Come back when you feel better. But I'm going to be, we're going to have another check-in in a couple of weeks. I said, all right. Went away, just got worse. And I just thought, oh, man. I just remember feeling, I think I actually felt shame around having to have medication. And that I then failed at life. And that now I need something else. And I was like, isn't therapy enough? I'm having a breakdown enough. Now I've got to put something else like to change the chemicals in my brain. It just didn't make sense. But anyway, I had to put my hands up because I was spiraling fast. And I was like, okay, give me whatever I need. Let's see if it works. And let's get some therapy. And that gap there for anybody who's had mental health issues and been awaiting therapy and either taking medication or just waiting to get in the right place for therapy, it is the worst place ever because it's so unknown. Like, I couldn't work. I wasn't like a functioning depressive person. Do you know how people can be depressed but they go to it? I just couldn't do it.
So you were just out of the game.
I was just at home. I was having to play computer games to like take my mind off things. I couldn't read because I had no concentration. I kept having panic attacks because I was fearing what was going to happen. Was I going to do myself in, or what I'm going to do in my life? My life's over. It was just relentless.
Sounds like a living hell realm, to be honest.
It was full on, honestly. That was a living hell. And everybody else is getting on with their life around you. And you're just sat there in this hole, just like, it's just, mate, it's just horrible. So, yeah, just being stuck in that place and kind of hoping this medication does something, like lifts your serotonin enough to get you out of it. I don't know. It feels like forever anyway, and it took like probably 6-8 weeks. And then I was managing to get to a place where I get therapy. And I remember the first time I went in for therapy, I told this woman, I said, look, I think I'm incurable now. I'm fucked. I can't think straight, blah, 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 blah. I feel okay sometimes. And she listened to me. I told her my story, and she said, right, what I want you to do is, she said, I'm going to help you get better. She said, I'm confident we can get there. You're not a write-off and all this. She said, I want you to go home. She said, I want you to get all your spiritual books. And she said, I want you to bag them up and put them in the loft. I said, I'm not doing that. I said, they've saved my life. It's just saved my life the last, year and a half and that. And she said, I get what you mean. I understand. She said, I'm a spiritual person and all this, and started. And she said, but right now, your head is basically battered. You can't process anything that you've been reading. It's made you more confused, and you can't integrate any of the teachings in them book at all. And if you want to get better, you've got to simplify everything. You've got to strip everything back. And I was just like, whoa, I can't do that. And I was in a right battle with her about that. But then I realised that, no, it's got to be done. So I bagged everything up, put it in the loft, and then therapy started. And that woman played a huge part in me properly sorting my head out, just really challenging my belief systems, simplifying everything, just returning back to me like I actually found who I was for the first time probably ever in my life. I got past some of, she started to teach me about the kind of mask that we put on, how we kind of, parts and traits about the personality, how they're not really us, just keep us safe. And this was as I started to get well, she started to teach me about that. And I was like, fuck, so I started to find me and I started to feel like I could live again.
I mean, you find the right therapy and it's a therapist, and it's a game changer, isn't it?
Literally game changer,
so
mate.
How did that start to manifest in your life then? You've started having this new outlook. You've put your spiritual books away. Are the anxiety attacks starting to lessen?
Yeah, they'd lessened by the time I'd started therapy. And I remember by the 4th therapy session, I was like, sweet. Like, I'm starting to...
Just the 4th one as well?
Yeah, by about the 4th one. It happened again with the last one I had. Seems golden 4 sessions if you stick it out.
Just get to round 4.
Round 4. Do you know what was mad? I was just thinking now, I know I've not done the 12 steps, but apparently at the 12 steps, if you make it to like number 4, apparently that's like a really hard step to get past. And if you get past that, you're like...
Do you know which one it is?
I think, is it
one... handing over to something higher than yourself? Or?
No, that's like number 1. I think this one's the one when you start to have to clean up with people and you really don't want to do it, and you start to do it and you start to go... So, anyway, I just thought of that then. But by that fourth session, I remember the thought that came to me is, I feel like I can actually breathe again. For the first time in my life, I feel like I can actually breathe again. Like the weight of what I'd been carrying from when I was younger, because there was a way that I actually realised that I was showing up that was actually inauthentic, like being happy-go-lucky all the time was just like my safety mechanism. I was starting to realise all that, and I was like...
You've probably been suppressing a bit then, really.
Yeah. So I was like, suppressing a lot, I think. So I started to realise that, and don't get me wrong, it took me till like I was 30 to actually, if not the last 4 years, to actually get past that.
But we're taking our first steps now.
Taking the first steps. And I just remember being able to breathe again, started to live my life again. Straight off the back of that therapy, I had a massive lease of life, and it was like, right, boom, PT. I'm not doing, because a lot of obviously tied up in this before I very first went to that Reiki session was drugs and partying. So in that time, I actually had to, before that second breakdown, I had to change my environment, my friends a little bit. So I'd only meet them and go out for a few beers. I was a bit paranoid about drinking. I'd slipped up and do drugs a few times, but I was changing my relationship with alcohol and drugs in that period. So by the time I'd had my therapy, I felt quite strong in myself. So I was able to go out, still have a drink, but I wasn't really doing any drugs. But I was still enjoying and having a social life. So that felt good because I thought that was over. I thought I'm just going to be this guy who's sober at this age, and there's no sober events like now. Yeah. So I'm like...
There's no Sanctum.
There's no Sanctum, mate. Sanctum. So I'm just going to be getting about, meet my mates at the gym, and that's my life, a bit of food, but no one's asked about food, just want a party that time.
I can absolutely relate. When I stopped, because obviously I will have the odd drink, very rarely, but to be honest, when you stop going out, it's like, well, what do I do? Like, what else is there? And like you said, there probably wasn't quite the amount of events and workshops and classes, and just finding like-minded people who are like, yeah, I'm the same. You've just got your friend group that are like, let's get on. I still want to get on it.
Yeah, that was exactly how it was. And that was a real difficulty at that age of being like 21 through to like...
especially that age.
21, like, you totally... It's what I see, and I don't know what it's like nowadays, really, but nobody was second-guessing going out partying, doing drinking drugs.
It's what you do.
It's just like it was just a normal thing that a lot of people did. If they didn't do drugs, they were still drinking a lot and getting smashed, and I had to question it all.
We're from Manchester as well. It's music, football. Get on it.
Yeah. That was kind of a lonely place, but after the therapy... This woman, I kind of got my head around that, and I think finding the strength in me to be able, or the willpower,
I like that,
which actually didn't come much further on when I discovered that name, but I actually had the power to kind of go out on a night out and say, I'm having a couple of beers, lads, I'm not getting on it. And I was like, and some of them would try and push the edge. Come on, we want you to be back. Where's Willie B gone? And I was like, no, mate, I can't do it. It's not good for my mental health. If you want to do it, fine, but I'm not doing it. And I was able to have, even while having, the alcohol, which kind of drops your, your, what do you call it, like boundaries or, your urges or
your inhibitions.
Inhibitions, that's it. I was still able to keep control over it. The odd time it would slip up, but not much. So, yeah, I started on that kind of new journey. Going out, social life was good, became a PT.
How was it becoming a PT? Because I know that's a massive part of your life. So,
well, I realised that it took me a long time. I think I actually wanted to be a PT from around, when I look at it, from about 19, but I didn't have the confidence to be a good PT. Like, I might have outwardly looked confident, and I was very talkative and out there and boisterous almost, but I didn't believe in myself. And through that journey, I actually found that I could believe in myself. I could be a good trainer. I'd love it. So it was like a new lease of life. And I basically just, I just went full force with it. I'd been a fitness instructor by that point for a year or two. So then I stepped into that role and I just took it on. I did very well, built an amazing business, earning lots of money. Relationship was good. Started to travel a lot. And this whole, in that time, there was a friend of mine, early stages of like being a PT, maybe about a year. I was trying to find my name as a PT. He was actually PT at the gym as well. We were sat in the office, and a beautiful man called Rich, he's actually died of cancer now. I'll never forget this conversation though. Like, we were sat in the office and he was like, you need a PT name. And I was like, I know, I'm trying to think. And you're saying daft stuff like
Go on,
Be My Hero Fitness. I don't know, that's just go on the top of your head, but just really cheesy ones.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and went, Will. And I was like, yeah, Will. What can we tie in with Will? And then he just said straight up, he went, you're willpower. And I went, I am willpower. And I remember he was like, willpower. And I was like, willpower? And we were just stood there going, no way, that's a sick name, mate. Willpower. And it kind of ties in because then you're giving people the power to take responsibility. And we were just buzzing off each other.
I mean, that's how we refer to you. No one actually said on the other episodes Will Barton. They all said willpower.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like when me sometimes people are like, you like meditation with Michael. First name meditation.
Yeah. Who do you mean, Mike? No, meditation.
Or
with
Ben
Michael.
SOS. Someone I said like, oh yeah, I was doing one with Ben SOS, and they went, what's Ben's last name? And this was like one of his friends.
Yeah.
So willpower's come about.
Willpower was birthed, mate, and I don't think I realised how much willpower would be a thing as I went throughout my life. So made that into my PT name, put that on leaflet. And to be fair, not everyone was saying it for ages. I didn't even buy into the name massively. It just sounded cool. On my PT kind of brand. It's only actually lately that's become actually, oh wow, now I see what it's about. So yeah, birthed PT and then basically went off like traveling as well. Saved up, travelled the world with my partner at the time. Had some amazing kind of journeys around the world, really. Like, I remember we went over, lived in Oz for a little bit.
Hey, I can relate.
Yeah, we went to...
How did you find Australia?
It was really good. Like, it was amazing, but one thing that happened, we went to America first, which was the wrong way around. Looking back, we did a month in America and blew most of our money. And we were meant to go Oz and then go Thailand afterwards. So when we got to Oz, we were like skint, stayed with my cousins, got a job in a gym and quickly turned everything around. But then we were in this dingy kind of flat trying to make, like, get our money back so we could actually live okay. And then my partner, she was struggling with her mental health. It got really bad. Her anxiety got really bad. So we actually had to abandon ship and head home pretty fast. And she had to then go and get help with her anxiety. So mental health was quite a big thing that I'd started to, I've had my own personal experience with or see it around me.
Yeah.
Because her mum suffered, she was an alcoholic. So I saw that. We'd lived at their home. So I saw that play out. And I was just around, as much as I had a great time throughout my 20s. A lot of dysfunction and a lot of pain. Either looking at my own pain and trauma and having to deal with that at a young age, or having to help and try and deal with other people's. And just, I remember thinking, like, why the fuck have I got to deal with all this? Like, my other mates haven't got all this. They've got issues going on, but they've not got what I'm going through here. They've not dealt with the mental health issues I am, or got partners that. They're just living life. And I remember used to feel like, for fuck's sake, God, why are you putting this on me?
Okay.
Like, this isn't cool, man. This is hard. Like, I was having to become a parent at home to her mum, and it was just heavy at times. It was really great, some of the travelling and work things, but then some of the stuff was just really heavy, and then that drove me back into other mental health stuff further down the line. So, yeah.
So let's go into that then. What's happening after we've come back?
Yeah, we've come back from travelling, mid kind of 20s now. Partner she has to go in the Priory then, get sorted. Not in the Priory, outpatient like I was. I mean, big up the Priory if you've got really bad mental health issues. Are expensive, but flipping heck, they've got some of the best therapists in there. They saved my life, and I've seen them save other people's lives by what their service that they're offering. So she got sorted, and then quite quickly we just got back. I was already into work, doing well again, and we wanted to finish off our travelling. We'd got engaged in while we were travelling. So then it was like, get out, go Thailand, get back, save, get married.
Mm-hmm.
And then the back end of my 20s then was literally living, heading towards getting married and buying a house. But I think my relationship with that person was, I think it had died at some point. We were just friends. That's how I personally realised that we were living a kind of half relationship. And we were just then, I see that I was just doing what I'd almost been programmed and conditioned to do from what I'd seen from maybe parents and the way they deal with it, other people, that this is how life goes. You know, you have your battles, you have your times, but then you get to work, you go, well, luckily we got some travelling, our parents didn't. And then you get married and get a house, and then that's you done for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
this is how it goes.
Everyone does this.
So I was like, oh yeah, just do this thing now, and then now we're going to save, then we're going to get a house, and then...
Very autopilot, yeah.
Like autopilot, and I was just cracking on with it, and then my grandma died, and then I started like using drugs again, and now we're talking the back end of my 20s now, and I started wanting to go clubbing again a lot more, but then actually I'll just play with MDMA a bit, and I'll start doing that, and then things just... I wasn't processing grief of her. I had issues in my relationship that I wasn't looking at and communicating about. Still didn't know how to communicate effectively. Apart from when I was in a really bad place and needed to go to therapy, I was just still just living a life, being a lad. And then, then it basically all just came crashing down.
How did that look then?
Well, the earlier signs of it were 6 months before the wedding, my dad saying, is this right? Is this right for you? I said, yeah, it's cool. And he's like, you can step out of this. And I was like, no, what are you going on about? Like, we might get married and do that thing. Innit? So he was starting
Even
to...
he's seeing it then.
But I didn't want to... Yeah, he was seeing it. I didn't want to get present to that. I was like, no, I'm just doing this thing. I can't let anybody down now. You know, all this. It was always about everybody else.
Okay.
It was never... I didn't even have the ability to check in with how actually I was feeling, what I actually wanted. And even if I did, I wouldn't have had the maturity or the confidence to actually stand for what I wanted. I would just... As long as everybody else is happy, we're all happy, and life's sweet.
We're all smiling, can't you see?
Yeah, but it was just a facade. It really was a facade. I reckon I wore a mask most of the way through my 20s. I started to peel back the layers in therapy, but really I was just still putting this mask on of like life's good and brilliant and everything, and we're always smiling, but underneath there was a lot of pain. So I got married and quite quickly realised after that, what am I doing? The honeymoon started. It just didn't go to plan, and I started questioning it straight away. I almost had a moment of, I don't think I might be in this. Wow, and just like the realisation hit me. I went on this walk on my own and just, So from there, I guess I kind of tried to rescue it, but not in the way I would do now. Like, right, we need to sit down, we need to sort this out, we need to like go to therapy. It was just like kind of trying to do little things, try and make it work, and then...
How so?
What do you mean?
Just like, so you said you weren't doing what you do now. What were you doing?
I was just like saying, all right, come on, let's like do this, and let's get another dog. Joe, let's get a dog. Do you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, let's get a dog.
Kid.
Let's go on another holiday. Let's get a house. Let's get into the house, and just all them kind of things to sugarcoat what's really going on instead of a real honest conversation. And then that led to I just got to a point. I was training a client who was an NLP master practitioner, and she almost became a mentor.
For people who don't know what NLP is.
Yeah, it's neuro-linguistic programming, so it's about changing them neural pathways in the brain. It's about believing in yourself and getting rid of any of the kind of junk that gets in your way and self-limiting beliefs. So I started with work with her. She made me realise that what you're doing. You're about to move into a house and carry on the rest of your life, and you've got this grenade that you're going to step into this house and this rest of your life with, and it's going to go off at some point. Now, do you want to step into a house with that grenade going off? And I just remember being on this walk like, oh my God, I've got to call this a day. And I remember that it just hitting me on this walk and going, I need to end this. Wow, God, this is 10 years I'm about to end. Like,
10 years.
10 years, I was like, surely not. But I'd been through so many battles in my head around it, I knew that I had to do it. And I think the fear and the anxiety and the not knowing how to deal with it, I just literally made a phone call to her and said, I need to speak to you. I need to speak to you now. And I just rushed everything. I went back and I said, I'm not happy. I'm leaving. I need some time. And she was just shocked.
Of course.
And then I moved back to my mum and dad's, and went on this. I just went manic. Like my mind just went off. And that was just me not being able to sit with all the emotion. Instead, I just wanted to escape, but it just flicked some switch in my brain. And I just went on this manic. I was also having a spiritual awakening at the time as well. So all that I'd been suppressing, I didn't mention this, but in my 20s, after I'd had that therapy, I realised that there was nobody around me apart from older people that were kind of into spirituality. It wasn't really a thing then, so I had to put the lid on it. But I didn't really want to, but I felt like I had to because I was very alone in it. My partner, she didn't want to deal with it because it kind of helped me and not helped me in that early period. And I think all the suppression of that as well, the suppression in the relationship, not speaking how I feel, all that, the lid, as soon as I made a decision, I'm out, I'm done, the lid just popped. And all that suppression came up, and that's why I just went manic. And whatever happened to my brain chemistry as well, God knows, but I wasn't sleeping. I wanted to go out all the time, loads of energy. I was overly happy. I was having these mad experiences with, with God, if you like, and I couldn't decipher. I mean, I thought at the time it was real. I can't decipher what was like a projection of my mind because of how mentally unstable I was, and what was actually, moments with the universe and God. Like there was definitely some reality happening in my experience, but it was mad. It was that was one of the craziest times of my life. Like I was on a flipping jet plane.
Do we have like a main story, or like something that can help really amplify and show us the point of where you were at?
Are you tired of feeling run down? Maybe you're struggling with some sort of health condition, or it could be as simple as you're not reaching your fullest potential. Well, I found a solution. Isabella Nutrition's here to transform your life, show you the incredible healing power of nature. Let me just introduce to you Isabella Bradford Johnson, a skilled naturopathic nutritionist with a passion for showing you how to achieve optimum health, well-being, with tailor-made nutrition and lifestyle plans. She'll show you how to fill your life with vitality, renewed energy. Now, Isabella firmly believes that your body holds the key to your healing. She just wants to show you how to unlock it. Through the power of lifestyle and diet changes, Isabella will show you how to heal from within. Be that best version of yourself. Now, whether you're looking to improve your overall health or target a specific area, maybe it's gut or hormonal issues where she specialises, Isabella will have expert guidance and support to show you how to have a future filled with joy. Now, it's not about quick fixes, short-term solutions. No, it's about long-term transformation, sustainable results. So stop waiting to take care of your health. Go down to www.isabellabradfordjohnsonnutritionist.uk. Book a consultation with Isabella today. Embark on a journey filled with health, vitality, lasting well-being. Isabella Nutrition, empowering you to live your healthiest life.
I was just like, right, I can't do this relationship. I'm having all these awakenings. God's telling me, or I'm thinking from these experiences with God, that I need to save the world.
Okay.
So I was like, I need to save the world. And then I was meeting other people that felt like they were having awakenings, and then they felt like they needed to save the world. And then I was like, right, fucking, I think I was all this. Of course, this is all landed perfectly. I'm here to save the world.
You're seeing all of it aligning.
Yeah, it was so trippy. And I was like, fuck, like, no way, God's chosen me to like.
Savior complex.
I went into some kind of savior complex, and it was scary, man. Then I was doing crazy stuff, like I then started to the drug taking was coming back in, because I thought, I could do drugs, it's fine, my head's fine. It was a nightmare, like for my mum and dad. I was staying here, there and everywhere. They couldn't keep a track of me. I tried moving back home. They were trying to, I was trying to get off to Dubai, saying I had business meetings over there. I was in a mess. Got involved in this group. They were all in this savior complex. It was just a mess, mate. And, I remember going to a psychiatrist. I remember the ambulance coming to take me to hospital. I just blagged the ambulance. I tried blagging the psychologist, but he knew I was unwell, but he couldn't do any work with me. And again, all came crumbling down. Boom. That lasted from the end of August to about the end of January. So it was a long time of hardly sleeping, like literally a couple of nights every night, out and about everywhere, burning through money, letting go of my business. It just was chaos.
Must have been feeling quite frazzled by then as well.
Yeah, I was quite frazzled. And do you know what had happened as well? Before I called it a day with my marriage, I had a mini breakdown. I had actually, do you know, when I was trying to deal with, is this for me or not? I did have a mini breakdown off the back of this stag do that had been on. And I remember I actually jumped on medication pretty quick, and I probably shouldn't have done that, because I always questioned, and I still say today, as much as medication helped me for a period of time, it needs to be the last resort.
Yeah, not the first thing you go to.
It's like literally you cannot function, you're struggling to work. And I just remember thinking, it's helped me before, just give me some of that. But I was rushing way too much. I probably could have got through that without it. I just rushed and panicked, and then I just ended up taking a really high dose of this thing called sertraline, and all that amplified everything, the manicness, everything. So in that manic period, I knew that the medication was an issue, because the psychiatrist said you need to lower it when I went to see him when I was off my head. And he basically, so I basically just threw it in the bin. Like, you should not throw 150 milligrams of sertraline a day in the bin. Like, you've got to come off really, really slow. But I threw it in the bin. I was like, I'm sweet, no, it's fine. Oh my God. When the dark clouds rolled in at the end of January, I remember it just hit me straight away. I remember ringing my mum and just saying to my mum, I'm really sorry, I'm about to go into a really bad depression. And she said, I knew you were going to end up here. And I was like, I didn't even see it coming. Like, we have been petrified about where you've been at and where you've been at for that long, but we're here, we love you and support you, we'll get you get sorted. But I was like, Mum, I'm going into a deep hole. And then the deepest and darkest hole ever was just there then. I was 29, and it was lights out, bottom of the ocean. Everything came back then, because I just caused carnage for 5 months as well, and I'd left my relationship, had not dealt with that, and I'd come off a big dose of medication, not properly. I'd been doing drugs. I was fucked, mate. I was very, very unwell. I was so close to being hospitalised. I literally had to be sedated at home for a long time to just stop me from going mad. It was that was bad. That was the worst I've ever felt in my life, and it lasted for 6 months. It was so long. It was like a lifetime of hell. It made the other ones that I'd had, in my early 20s, they were just a warm up. This was hell on earth. I remember just waking up in the morning thinking, why am I still alive? I just want to be dead. I don't want to be here. I removed myself from everybody. I was just back at my mum and dad's, and just in the bedroom, just going fully under and really not knowing how I was going to get out of it, because I knew that it was a massive journey, but I had no energy to take it on. So I knew I had to go on some new medication and I had to find a new therapist, and when am I going to be well enough for that? I've not even got a partner to fall back on and talk to. It was just lonely, man. It was lonely, like really, really fucking lonely. And yeah, I
So-
managed to get out of it, but
We've gone, obviously, you can just tell by you even reliving it how horrible a moment that was for you to be in, and we're not even a moment, 6 months. When do we start coming out of it then? What are we doing to help? Because eventually you must have got something, because that's not the guy I'm seeing in front of me.
yeah. I mean, God.
Bit of willpower came in.
Well, I swear I had to pull every inch of willpower out. There was so little light. But this is where I've got so much love for mum and dad.
Okay.
Because, I used to my dad used to just take me out for walks. I wouldn't speak to him. He'd just take me out for walks and just sit there. And we'd just sit and they were like the early steps of trying to get out. He'd take me out for drives in the car. And I wouldn't really speak to him. I'd just be depressed. But he would just take me out. And yeah, I've got a lot of love for him for, who he stepped up to become back then. Like, it was a lot. Like, and my mum helped in her way, but she actually struggled to help me emotionally, whereas my dad did, because he'd had issues with anxiety and stuff himself. So they were the initial steps. Right medication for that time, and again, a new therapist called Miftau, then, which was this amazing guy from Nigeria that had come over, and he got me out again. 4 sessions.
Was it the magic 4?
4 sessions, but again, this was 4 months after being in a dark place. But the lights came back on. Got myself out of it again. Could breathe again. And then I was 30. My 30th birthday, I remember, still didn't go out with any friends. We just went to like Duke's 92, I think me and mum and dad in. And I just remember thinking I'm going to be okay. I had to go back to work. I was still pretty depressed, but I had to get back into work. And the hardest thing was that gym, it was Brooklands in Sale. I'd seen everyone who'd stayed there for the 10 years, I'd literally seen the whole journey. I'd left, I'd come back, I'd put loads of weight on the first time. I did pretty much word got about that I'd been depressed. No one really knew about depression in them early days. Then I'd gone away again, gone mad. They could see on my social media I'd gone mad. And then I'd gone into hiding, then I'd come back out. It took a lot to keep showing back up in that environment, Joe, with my pride.
But I know when you came around the other day with Demi, your partner that you're with now, and you were telling us, like, she was amazed that you just, something in you is so resilient, you'll still keep getting out there.
Yeah, I definitely think that was part of the earliest stage of forming this resilience. Because I also remember coming out of them places, especially the last time when I was like, I'm 37 now, when I came out of that place when I was 30. And as much as I felt free, I felt very much like my safety officer was on board a lot. And I was like, okay, I want to live fully, but I can't end up back in this place again. So how am I going to do that? Because, like, I've basically been diagnosed with bipolar. Now, I kind of want to part that, but I kind of need to listen to, like, some of the advice of how I need to balance stuff and that. But I'm a pretty extreme guy, like, so everything was about safety for quite a while. Like, I just need to keep it safe. Do you know?
Bit more balanced.
To be fair, actually, sorry, I've just got that a bit wrong. That was actually in my 20s when I came out. My first thing, it was about safety throughout being 20, so I never fully lived. But then when I came out of being diagnosed with bipolar and got out of that dark place, clearing some stuff there, and then I'm going now. I then did feel like I needed to take it easy, but very quickly after I came out of that place, got sorted, I didn't stop there. I was like, okay, I'm back into work and I'm back doing what I'm meant to be doing, but I'm not ending up back there again. So the therapy's helped me for the here and now, but I want to dig up everything from my past now that's led me to this. What are the stories that have been playing out? What are these narratives? What parts of my shadow have been causing me to end up putting the pressure on myself, not communicating? All that I wanted it done with.
You clearly wanted to stop this paradigm of a bit of healing, then duh, bit of healing, duh. So what did you end up doing differently this time then?
I just basically went straight back in. I just went into what they would call now like inner child work, or looking right back. Started seeking out the right people to do that work with. Started to look at all my patterns, behaviours, self-sabotage, and just started to peel back the layers. Why have I done that? Where's it come from? Oh, that's why I did it, because I didn't feel good enough to do that. Oh, what was causing that? Oh, you thought you were something else. Oh. And I just peeled back. Then I went on the Mankind Project, which is like a men's retreat weekend. Peeled back more layers, started to discover shadow work. Then I started going into shamanism, worked with this woman who was a practicing shaman. Then she taught me about shamanism. And I was just going through lifetimes of just stuff, going back into this like other lifetimes. And just, I was like, I ain't stopping until I feel like I've done enough healing to then hopefully, because at this point I knew that I was meant to give back. I was like, I'm here to give back. At some point when I'm ready, I'm here to give back. So I need to peel back this onion and really get to the core of this stuff. And then hopefully I'll be in a position where I can then give back to others from my story. So just loads of inner work, all that kind of stuff. Landmark, got a new, another mentor and coach. She helped me do more. And then, I could tell you loads about this situation, but one thing that I was met with then on that way is, like, I started to see that, okay, I'm getting this now, I'm doing the work, I'm feeling a lot more whole, I'm feeling a lot more complete. And then the next biggest challenge came, which was the whole losing my hair.
Okay.
So in that healing journey, I didn't know it was coming for me, but it seemed like...
Because when I met you for the first time, which is about 4 years ago, you did have a little bit still. It was patchy. You still had the eyebrows, you had a bit of a beard, didn't you?
Yeah.
There was a little bit, but even then I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that guy. To me, the way I think, if someone says WillPower or Will Barton, I see this guy.
Yeah.
So go on, tell us, what's that like for you then?
I mean, this is what we talked about, didn't we, when I was last here? That was heavy. It was heavy, but in a different way. It wasn't depression. However, I was pretty confident I wouldn't go there because I'd done a lot of work on myself by that point, like quite a few years. So I knew then how to communicate, how to sit with my feelings, how to not escape. So I had to just bring all them teachings online then, so I didn't slip into a hole. So obviously, my beard started going, my eyebrows started going, and I just started going basically fully under. And I was like, shit, like, and it was just hitting me heavy because a lot of the thing that was driving me being happy-go-lucky, out there, always looked perfect in my own way, was that I don't feel good enough because I don't, if I don't look 100%, as in it was all visual, then I don't feel 100%. I'm not valuable. I'm just this guy. So I always had to be pumped up at the gym. I had to have my hair a certain way. And I was then met with, sorry, mate, all that you've been hiding about looking perfect, this perfectionism thing, it's got to go. And you're going to experience everything that's been actually underneath that. And what I discovered then was that I went back into my childhood when my mum tried covering my hair up with at the hairdressers because she didn't want me to get bullied in school because I was getting patches, and then I believed that I wasn't lovable. That played out throughout my life in this facade and mask that I was wearing. The perfectionism came online, and then I was met with what I actually started to believe then, and that was basically that I felt that I was actually a monster. So it's like, how could I even... Like, I just started to realise, like, how nasty we can be to ourselves as humans, do you know, when we really don't like something about ourselves. Like, the voice was literally, you're a monster. And as all my hair was falling out, that was just live. Like, I was like, how is anybody going to love me? All my hair's falling out. I'm going to look ill. And I was even having people, to be fair, there wasn't loads of people. I think people respected what I was going through, but I had people come up to me and say, you all right? You look unwell. Have you got cancer? And it was just like, I wasn't willing to hide. I was like, no matter how heavy this gets and how much I don't feel lovable or accepted right now among everybody that I'm walking amongst in work, I'm still showing up. I'm not letting this defeat me. I am not escaping. I'm not going to go and do drugs or anything. I'm just going to get on with it. And that's what I did. There was some deep, deep tears that came from like pit of my stomach with my coach. She was getting me to some really, like, the belief about me being a monster. I'd cry all that out, realise I was grieving all the pain and all the covering up I'd been doing because, yeah, it allowed the light. The whole experience of all my hair coming out was to really allow me to strip back a big part of that ego that I was hiding behind. It just humbled me, and it got me to a place of me actually loving me for who I am. It doesn't matter what I look like. It's just, you're just a very honest, loving and joyful man. That is who you really are, and it doesn't matter what you look like, mate. Like, people, doesn't even matter if people love you as long as you love and accept yourself. That's the key, and that is basically what started to happen. It took from like the New Year. I don't know if you remember being at the New Year party, Demi's, when I threw up.
Oh, I remember.
And I disappeared.
Yeah.
It started there, like my hair started just falling out like fast from there. Lockdown happened, and then it was all gone by May. And then it was lockdown then. So I was able to, I started to love myself.
I suppose that was a little bit of a blessing for you as well, wasn't it? Give you that time to just not have to go into society.
Yeah, I mean, I had to, while it was falling out, I was feeling my worst. I was in society, which was mad because I could have kind of, that was how it was meant to play out.
Yeah.
But by the time I'd actually kind of felt like I'd actually accepted it, then we were in lockdown.
Oh, so it's the wrong way around, that.
Yeah. I was a bit like, flipping it, right? Now I don't get to see anyone. I'm just quite happy with myself at home now with Demi, with no hair. Okay.
Let's mention Demi as well, because obviously by this point you have now got a new partner, Demi, who I love to bits as well, and you've now got her who seems quite aligned with yourself.
Yeah.
Did that help with this whole accepting yourself, having somebody that stick with you through all that?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a good point to bring it into that. I mean, after I had come out of that place when I was like 30, had a couple of years doing the work on myself, then Demi walked into my life. Totally unexpected. I don't think we were looking for, any of us were looking for a partner at the time. And that just sparked this whole new journey off. And she played a huge part. I actually realised that she was playing a very key part in my own kind of healing journey. I just didn't realise at the time, but the mirror that began to get, after the year honeymoon that maybe some of us get, a lot of us normally experience. Once that was over, it was like, game on, we're doing the work on.
This is real now.
This is real now. This relationship's real. And and whatever we need to do to get past any kind of wounds that we've got, any relationship issues we've got, it's going to come to the table now. And it was pretty ferocious for about a year or two. And in that, my hair fell out. And that was another part of it. And having her still love me, even though I was feeling like a monster and nobody would love me, played a key part in me being able to find that light within myself. So she definitely held a space for me while I was going through that pain. And she wasn't going, "Oh, I love you, you're amazing" all the time. She was just there.
She was there. She showed up.
It
wasn't just words.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I was loving you as well.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, everyone was being really supportive. To be fair, everyone was just like, I guess my true friends that are around weren't, one or two of them were worried and saying stuff, but others were just there. They weren't really going into it or, getting all like, "Oh, mate,"
I never
sometimes
doubted.
that could be the worst.
I never doubted that you had it. I knew it was going to be difficult.
Yeah.
How could it not? I've had friends in the past who have had alopecia and they've like erased themselves from the planet. I don't even see them anymore. But the respect I had for you for like, yeah, this is hard. Obviously, we've had deep chats, and you've been like the monster stuff. Like, to me, that breaks my heart that you were even in that space.
Yeah.
But I always knew that. Sorry, I always knew that you had something. And then to me, a relationship with a partner isn't, like you said, the honeymoon stage. We're all happy, happy, happy. It's not about making each other happy. It's about helping each other to grow, helping each other to become more conscious. And you seem to have that with Demi.
Yeah.
And that's clearly been why you said all this growth has been coming as well.
Yeah, totally. We all the stuff came up in the context of relationship and our past that would normally probably have us hide away in ourselves, away from people, or in the relationship you would probably go, this is too hard, I'll get away. But we kept standing for each other. We kept committed to walking that path together, and that's allowed us to get past our own inner demons, and also be able to just love and support each other and be on this journey together now. And, you know, through that, we've actually, like, through doing the work together and really working hard on our relationship and through our own personal issues, you know, like a year or so ago, we feel like we've just started a new relationship. Like, we're completely two new people. Do you want to remove all that stuff? It's like, wow, who were we?
And also, how connected are you now?
Yeah.
Because how deep do you know each other, rather than it just being this shell, like you sort of said, like you weren't speaking to anybody, this shell sort of relationship you have in surface relationship.
Yeah.
You and her, the depth of that relationship that you've now got, it's probably why it feels like a new one. I can relate.
Yeah.
It's like, who were they? They weren't us.
Yeah. They were just the things that were playing out. Like we've said, the stories, the narratives, the whatever that is, just the inauthenticities. And it's crazy to think. So you are there, but your stuff's there predominantly as well. So it's kind of not you, and it's mad. And I guess that's kind of the work that I'm more stepping into, being a stand for, being authentic, being honest, being open, all that stuff now, so people can experience I guess get to maybe not exactly the similar place that I am, but find something that I've been able to find through working through my pain and my struggles and coming out the other side of it on my own and in my relationship.
Well, can we talk about some of the work you're doing then as well? Things like your band of brothers. Obviously, you did have Boomker. That's now transitioning into, is it Sanctum?
Sanctum.
You've got your PT in. I've seen you at workspaces doing corporate events. You're at the farm club. So let's start bringing this stuff up now.
Yes, so I realised at 30 that after getting out of that place that I talked about before, I was like, right, I'm a great PT, been doing it for like 10 years. I love that. That's kind of the foundation around, but I really want to bring something more. I can offer more. There's more of who WillPower is, and there's more of what I can offer and bring to the space. So as I went on this journey of discovering myself and doing the healing on myself, etc., trying alternative stuff, I started to see that actually I'd like to become more of a coach. I guess a life coach. I don't really like the word life coach, but more coach.
Got a bit of a stigma around
it is just like a coach in general that can help people, work through their challenges, their obstacles.
I actually had a friend who spelled it wrong when she became a life coach, and she put life couch.
Like couch chats.
Couch. We'll come to
that. So I knew that that's where I wanted to go, but I knew there was a lot of work I needed to do on myself. To get to a place where I could actually feel comfortable to do that, or confident and have the right wisdom, knowledge, experience and everything to do that. So I started the journey of that, started discovering alternative events, got involved, built a business with a friend, Tribe Gaia, that then was opening up into like share circles, nature walks, ecstatic dances, then went into club events. So I started to move into that kind of space because I started to realise, okay, so what I needed when I was younger, especially when I was waking up, and a lot of people seem to be waking up now, all different types of ages, is...
By the way, what's waking up? To those who aren't understanding what you mean by that.
I think it's... For me, waking up is having the awareness to taking a real look at your life and going, whoa, I need to deal with all the things that are driving me to acting in these certain ways that I don't want to be.
So it's heightened awareness.
Yeah, it's a heightened awareness, And that might be a combination of then other things will take place, like you might have feel a connection to the universe. This isn't so much on like any kind of like DMT or anything. This just naturally occurs. You start seeing numbers and alignments and synchronicities. So to me, that's how I've experienced and how I see other people. Then they start to think about their conscious awareness comes online. They start to question their actions and motives, maybe their morality, all that kind of stuff. So
you've gone from Tribe Gaia, you're transitioning into what became Boomka.
Yeah, so it went into Boomka club events. Then I realised...
This is all sober, right?
This is all sober. And this was really starting to tick the box. I was then became director of Dry Wave, which Ben SOS runs. So,
I'm sure the listeners, if you haven't heard already, Mr. Ben SOS, already been on, check them episodes out.
Yes, Ben SOS, flipping at my story, never mind. I mean, Ben's story. So... what I found within that, and then creating my own kind of thing, is that this feels right. This is, you can still go out and have a good time, but without alcohol and drugs. It's just creating the right environment, the right people, the right music, and I felt really good about being involved in that. That's now transpired into me now stepping back from one of the businesses.
Because you're no longer doing that now, are you?
No longer involved with Tribe Gaia and Boomka. I am a director of Dry Wave, still involved in that. And then I've just started my own event called Sanctum, which will be more of a tribal house / commercial house night in a club in town, Vision. First one's on the 9th of December.
If it hasn't come out by then, there's going to be more, though.
Okay, yeah, there'll be more. So this is the start of something new, which feels really good. Starting to see that I can bring more of what my vision is through to that, instead of being... I've always been tied up a lot of the time in my alternative practices or businesses with somebody else, so it's always having to meet... Compromise, whereas now it's like, no, actually, now what is it that Will wants to bring forward that feels is right? Because that is... I'm discovering is different. So it feels good and feels very empowering to be able to do that. And also just, I believe that there's definitely now a new way with the whole social and sober kind of movement.
It's massive. People say to me, like, where can I go? I go, well, what's your vibe? I've got this, I've got transcend, I've got transmute, I've got this, I've got that. So it's beautiful to start seeing the world being like, we don't need to get off our tits to have a good time. And you're giving the people a chance to do that. It's a big thing to me.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's come with its challenges, because when I first started going to it and first started to throw them, it was a very new thing. I felt like I was pioneering it. And people were like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm not going to lie, the first time I ever met you was Tribe Gaia.
Yeah.
We were doing share circle. I just fancied Izzy. I was like, I'm doing whatever she does. I'm at the start of my journey here. I'm not awoken. And it's just like, what are they doing? But it's dancing, it's sharing, it's connecting, it's listening to me. Why is that actually weird in this society? And it's nice, like you said, to see you pioneering that sort of vibe.
Yeah. And I think it comes with kind of the territory of trying something new. And I just had to trust. I mean, now I can see, but 5 years ago, it wasn't a thing really. So I was doing it. And I just had this passion to be involved and do this, but I had no idea where it was going to go. I just trusted that I was doing the right thing. And people were like, what are you doing? What's this mad thing that you're doing? And I was like, I'm just doing it. And then I heard that people were saying things behind closed doors, like older friends and stuff. And then, boom, 5 years later, it's like, oh, actually, this is why I'm doing it. It's actually becoming a thing, and I'm actually on the leading edge of something greater. So that's with the sober and alternative events. And then with the Band of Brothers and more of that kind of work with men, that came up with my own mental health issues, realising that I wanted to be an advocate for that and be a stand for men opening up and speaking openly. So I got involved with Mankind Project, thought that was great, but wanted to discover something else. Found Band of Brothers. A Band of Brothers is basically a mentoring organisation for young men that are struggling in our community. A lot of the time, it's men that are coming out of prison. That was kind of the direct route it was going down. However, it's kind of opened up more now and widened its reach, which is great because it helps other lads it's quite hard to hit the young lads.
It's a lot of
coming
us
out
struggling.
prison.
A lot of people struggling, isn't there?
Like massive. Like I think this whole awakening, what that I've found that we're all coming through, is stirring stuff up for people, and they need places to go to be able to work through that. That might not be therapy. It might just be the right community of men, or right coach, right practice. There needs to be, and this is why I feel like it's all happening, a variety that will work for all these different people that are going through struggling times. Maybe not even say awakening, just struggling.
Yeah, just having a bad time, not enjoying life.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we need a variety because people are unique. You can't just expect one religion, one therapy, one medicine to fix everyone.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful that you've recognised that and gone, I want to offer this.
Yeah, totally. And the stuff with the men's work, I've learned a lot about accountability, integrity. There's big things in the teachings that we've got there. Taking things personally, just all these key things that I believe to being a good human being, not just a man, just a human being in general.
Because the sex isn't massively. It's just that's where you've gone.
Yeah.
Women are struggling too.
Yeah, I mean, with the coaching, when I've done like one-to-ones with people, it's been men and women. It's predominantly men that will come. But with the one-to-one stuff, which I'll do either online through Zoom, or I've done where people have come and met me wherever I'm working at, Farm Club, or even Transmute, I've done my one-to-ones there. That's anyone. But with the men's side of it, that's just been very much around kind of mentoring younger and older men. And I've learnt a lot, learnt about boundaries with young men and the importance of that when you're mentoring. Something I didn't know at first. I would fucking pick the phone up at 12 o'clock at night.
I remember you telling me, yeah.
And I actually realised that, no, this is my cut-off time. You get an hour with me a week, one-to-one, and I'll have a 15-minute call, and that's it. And just being strict a bit because they'll push the boundaries. So I think that's a great offering that I'm involved with. Part of my charity world, don't get paid for that part of it. Obviously do the coaching, get paid for that, but that part is like my charity, and that feels good to be in selfless service.
Yeah, because it's a way of giving to yourself as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other things that have opened up that I've been doing is there's the ecstatic dance at the Farm Club. The Farm Club's where I predominantly work, PT, doing soulful sessions there, which is my own ecstatic dance, which I get Dan to help me with, which is great.
Do you want to give Dan a shout out?
Yeah, big shout out to Dan Dawson. He does Alternative Friday night. It's a big thing of his. So he helps me with my ecstatic dance, also covers a lot of the Farm Club, does his own thing at Transcend. Top guy. So Farm Club's been great. Been getting into running some and covering some breathworks there, cold water. So it's very much me. It's very much the wholesome me. That's not just about fitness and eating well.
It's a holistic approach.
The holistic approach. So I'm able to facilitate that there. And that brings, it brings a lot for me, and it seems to be great value that I'm bringing in there.
Weren't you even on the Real Housewives or something?
Yeah, Real Chester Housewives, they came, and that was an experience. Like trying to train them was like trying to stop them gossiping.
This is at the Farm Club, isn't it?
Yeah. It was pretty mad. They were actually really lovely, but on the show they make them out to be like real bitches, basically.
But they're not.
They've got a bit of an edge. Like they're happy to gossip and that.
Yeah.
To create TV, but it's all a bit of a show. So it was actually quite mad because the Farm Club's not very showy. It's actually people come and they're very open or offensive. So it's mad to kind of have that kind of vibe in there. But
is that on TV then? Can we find that?
You can find that.
Where is it?
I don't know what episode it is. You'll find it somewhere in the archives, but you'd have to flick through.
Yeah, fair enough.
Real Housewives of Cheshire.
I mean, I watch them all. So
do you watch them?
What the fuck?
I was gonna say.
No, I mean, you know what? If that's your cup of tea, that's your guilty pleasure. Fine. It's just not. I watch it for you.
Yeah. If I find it, I'll send it you. But I couldn't watch any more of the episode. I literally could only watch that bit. Yeah, it's hard. It's painful to watch.
But you're doing soulful sessions. You've got
soulful sessions, mainly PT, boot camps down at the Farm Club, facilitate and cover some of the cold water and breath work. And then one of the other things, and this is quite a big maybe I didn't actually expect this to be as big as it's actually going to become, but I've started to do PowerPoint presentations in office about health and well-being.
So this is the corporate stuff.
This is the corporate stuff, and like anything that's kind of happened on this path, I think once I've got to a certain place within myself, doors have just opened when I've said, right, I'm open to facilitating. Help me find the right teachers, help me find the right learning to be able to facilitate what I'm doing. And they've just showed up. And I've not even been like trying to find them, they've just landed. Like the office thing was basically, my mate saw the men's work that I was doing, the circles that I was holding with Tribe Gaia. And then he was basically like, look, I want you to bring some of your coaching into my office. I said, okay. I said, I've never done it in office, by the way. But he said, no, it's fine. I'm happy to just, for you to do whatever you need to do, and let's stay in communication, work it out. So around COVID, when we were in and out of offices, that's when I started that. It went pretty well, learnt a lot, messed up quite a lot as well. Ended up doing things that probably weren't right for the office. Ended up feeling absolutely exhausted at the end of every Monday I was doing in there. But I learnt a lot. And in that time, I was PTing this guy, and basically he kept asking me about what I was doing in the office, and he was really inspired by what I was doing. He's like, I want you to come into my office at some point. So I said, yeah, okay, cool. So I've done other little bits for corporate stuff, but nothing major, mainly stuff that was coming to the farm club. And then he contacted me, said, right, I'm on the wellness committee at my work. Are you still doing the office thing? And I said, I've not done it for ages, but I'd love to open the door. So then I opened the door and shifted up and changed up a load of PowerPoints, created some new ones. And I've just been going in there once a month. It's been going really well. And then other doors are opening up to other offices. And then I've been contacted by this place's Amsterdam office, so to go and talk there. It's like, wow. I always wanted to be a speaker, but I felt like there would be something great and encouraging and motivational I could offer there. But I guess I didn't know if that would ever open up for me. I just was like, if that work happens, it happens, and it seems to be opening up now. So I'm discovering myself in the platform of speaking and bringing in that health and well-being in an area that is really needed.
Well, I was going to say, I've worked in a lot of offices. I've worked for banks, sales companies, British guys, and they're probably some of the most unhealthy people that you run into.
Yeah.
Sitting at a desk all day, looking at a screen, monotonous work. A lot of the time, it's not your purpose, not really seen as anything but a commodity, easily disposable. And to give those people this other way of looking at life, that's not just a small thing.
Yeah, totally. I've really got to see how meaningful and how much it matters doing that, and literally only predominantly as I've committed to it properly this year, I've seen that and the changes that are happening in the office. And my main thing with that is about helping people lower stress and choose to take on more things that are going to help and support their health and well-being. So whether that is basically looking at stress, being in the conversation of that, looking at even some goal setting some stuff around that, fitness, health, well-being, nutrition, breathwork, meditation.
Hey, I approve.
Lots of just little things, communication, emotional intelligence, anything that is going to help people get out of this, get a bit more into the body, get in talking a lot more. But it's not just about what they do in that time. I want them to go away, and this is good. This is still a bit of a challenge. I'm in meetings after I've been in there, and it's all about how can we keep them engaged. Now I'm coming in, but can we keep them engaged? Can we actually have them committing stuff? Can we have some accountability in there? And try not to force it on people, but trying to make them keep seeing why it's important. So this is a new thing that's opening up really properly, I'd say, in this last year, but I'm excited about where that can go to for my own personal growth and for what I can bring to the world.
I love it. I mean, I've done a little bit at corporate as well, just doing meditation sessions for like Mindful May and stuff like that. And
Mindful May,
it's like a bit weird going in because it's like a blast from the past, and I'm like, part of me's like, ugh. Like I shudder as I walk in the office, and then these three guys come in and they're like, no idea what's going to happen. And then the thing I was saying to you earlier, people like myself, you, Ben, Josh, is we're kind of that bridge between the mainstream and what may be considered too alternative. And it's like, nah, bro, it's just this. Just be present with how you feel. process it. How are we going to express it or release it? And that's it. And they're like, oh, so it's not this crazy shit that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm mindful that you've got a lot on, Will.
Yes.
So I'm going to obviously give people a chance to process what you've said. Where can they find you?
So main thing that I'm operating on, which I think a lot of people are, is Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So willpower_coach on there. Facebook, if you find me, I'm on Will Barton. TikTok, willpower_coach. Don't use it too much.
I got confused by it. I'm too old.
I mean, there's still some more stuff that I'm going to bring about, like a landing page, so everyone can find what I offer.
Well, we'll put all these links in the description as well, so people can find you, get towards you. And is there anything that you want to leave the people with? Who on earth is Will? What can we leave?
Well, one thing we'll say is you want to find me as well, face to face, and mainly at the Farm Club.
Okay.
Which is a beautiful place.
We'll put a link to the Farm Club as well.
To the Farm Club. So I think the main thing that I would leave this is that if anybody's listening who's in any of the places that I've been, the kind of dark places, depression or mental health issues, that you've definitely got to just go and be courageous enough to speak out, even if it's just to a family friend or whoever. Like, it literally does save your life. And I know a lot of people say that, but it's true. I've seen it in my own life, I've seen it with loads of other people. Go and get the help that is needed. Like, it saved my life, speaking out, communicating, and going down an avenue that I just had to trust. I had no idea if it was going to work, but it helped me, and I got out. And then also, it's just about choosing health and well-being. Like, to just go out there and try something new. Like, especially if you're a part of your life where life feels a bit monotonous, bit the same job, same thing. You're not finding your meaning, and you're looking for this purpose, and sometimes you can't find that. It takes time. But go and try something alternative. Go to one of these club events that I'm throwing, or somebody else. Try a new practice out, meditation. Go to a breathwork, cold water session. Get out in nature a bit more. Find a new community. Just go out there and choose health and well-being, because it's going to light up your life 100%.
Beautiful. Thank you. And what's coming up next for you, Will?
The next thing that is coming up that hasn't been leaked online yet, but it will have been by this point, is Sanctum. Sanctum.
We're going to have DJ Wizardry.
DJ Wizardry.
SK Beats. Yes.
I don't think Wizardry likes DJs, just Wizardry.
Just Wizardry.
Mystery.
I kind of say DJ just so people know.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, sorry, Mr. David Morris. He's going to be coming on as well. He's a legend.
Nice. He's a legend. And DJ Flourish. So it's a mix of tribal house, commercial house. So it's crossing the bridge for people that are trying something new. The commercial house will be like, "Ooh, I know this tune, yeah, let's party." And the tribal house, I just love stomping down to tribal Afro house. There's just something really great about just getting down to some of them kind of beats. So yeah, come down to one of those events. I'm sure you will have a wicked time.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, thanks. I can speak for myself and everybody else who's been listening. Thanks for coming on, Mr. WillPower. The man, the legend, finally came in.
Thanks for having me on, bro. I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, thanks. Peace, guys.
Peace.
How about that one, eh? I know it was probably intense for you. It was intense for me. I mean, to hear somebody tell us that much in depth about some of the struggles they've gone through, not just one mental breakdown, going into psychiatric wards, self-harm, just to relieve himself of that pain, just all that he's been through, and then to actually see where he's gone from that, accepting himself, not feeling like he's a monster. WillPower, Will Barton is not a monster. Beautiful person. I hope you agree. I hope this inspires you to maybe go speak to that person. If you want to go check out Band of Brothers, I'm going to put all the links for Will so you can get in touch with him if he's inspired you to start taking action, whether it's mental health, physical health, whatever it is. He's your man. I feel like that was one that when I was clipping it up, there was everything he said was like 99 out of 100. That's what was coming up, because it was so poignant, it was so relatable, and yeah, it was just a blessing to share my brother, man. He's a good friend as well. go check out Sanctum. His little dance thing he's got going on. Go check him down at the farm club as well, and whatever he's doing, I'll put the links like I said. Also, you want to go check out Transmute. You want to go check out Isabella Nutrition. Come on, guys, your health. This can be a beautiful experience, but not when we've got all these blocks to the love because of the trauma. Let's get that out of the way so we can enjoy it again. Now, you can also come and check me out. The meditation is stepping up this year. Meditation with Michael's coming online soon as well. We've got the website in development. Also, classes. You know, we've got classes. I've got one-to-ones. I've got events. The next one's going to be an Egyptian-styled one. And, yeah, just, guys, I appreciate you coming down. Any likes, any shares, any reviews, anything you can do to support the show. I love doing it. I love getting people like WillPower out there. But next up, episode 11. Now, this is a big one. Evan Fraser from Dirtwire. If you've not heard of the band Dirtwire International, go check them out online. They got some absolutely ridiculous ones out there. They're so good and it's so eclectic. There's various, and it just, you get to hear about all like how building a band and people who understand the music in such a way. And Evan, it's a nice little break. I know we've had some quite deep ones, and it's more about not quite necessarily all these trauma stuff that we've been going into, but it's interesting to the point where I was just like, whoa, that blew my mind. So Dirtwire, Evan Fraser coming out next Monday it should be. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do. Keep up with the Monday stuff, guys. They're not in stores right now. I was taking the mick a little bit, but please keep supporting Who on Earth however you can. Otherwise, peace and love.